Welcome to Carbon Express. We're here in the shop to teach you about driver training for the PT Chem System. Hi, I'm Dave Palmer here with PT Coupling. I'm at the Carbon Express facility here. If you're watching this film, you're about to be a driver and operate a pump system called the PT Chem System. I'm here to explain to you just some basic instruction. If you're at this point of the video, you've already been trained on the proper procedures with Carbon Express on how to handle the hoses, how to handle static reels, how to handle vapor lines, and so you're very aware of the basics of operating a tank. I'm here to give you the fine details of the pump system. So here it is. It's called the PT Chem System. And here's basically the way it works. When you get ready to do all of your hose connections, you've connected all of your tank connections, your vapor lines, you've opened your emergency valves, and now we're going to address the pump system. So you would hook up your hoses just like you would normally do. You would turn around, put this pump system in the neutral position. You can open up the valves. You've connected your hoses according to the connections on the front of the plate, and now you're ready to roll. At this time, you'll open the cab of the truck, engage your PTO, come back. The pump is going to run in one direction and one speed its whole life. So you're going to get back, and this is just like a motorboat throttle. You always have it in a neutral position when you're going to engage or disengage the PTO. That relieves all pressure and all flow. You turn around, you will check your lines by a simple pushing it to the load or the unload position, depending on what you're attempting to do. It's called tactile feedback. So as you push this handle over, if you can't push it with 2 fingers, something's closed. The handle will lock up and you won't be able to pump. So at that point, you would turn to the neutral position, walk your lines out. You'll find out generally you forgot to open the emergency valve or one of the API valves has not been opened. Once you've remedied the situation of the valve closure, again, 2 fingers, push this valve over to the direction you want to go. It starts off veneer flow, 1 gallon a minute, 2 gallon a minute, up to the pump's capacity of 140 gallons a minute. Then you can return to the neutral position, or you can turn all the way to the opposite, and you can rotate freely between pumping on and pumping off, back and forth, never pressurizing the pump other than the standard capacity. You'll never bring it to pressure. So if you're going to be unloading the truck, and someone has said, hey, something's wrong, you can turn around and reverse and suck the product right back on the truck. It's very similar to a motorboat throttle on a boat when you're running it. Simply move the handle forward for the boat to speed up, neutral, put it in reverse to reverse the boat. It's the exact same process. The unique thing about this is the pump's running in one rotation and one speed its whole life. It never varies, so that pump life is greatly increased. So if you're finishing your load, at the end of your load, you want to turn around, you can put the valve slightly in reverse, and at that point you can clean and walk out all of your lines before you finish. The pump will blow the last slugs out. You'll have very, very little retain, mainly hose residual. At the end of the job, you put it back to the neutral position. You would close your valves off, walk your lines out with standard protocol, disengage your PTO, and all of it takes with your driver, with your feet on the ground. You never have to get inside the cab of the truck. We want you where the action is, where the hoses are and where the pump is. And with that in mind, you've got some other features that we can talk about. So while you're pumping on the truck, we have a valve here in the bottom. Now that valve has 2 purposes. One purpose is to pull samples. So if you're pumping a resin or a chemical that someone wants to pull a sample, while you're doing it, you put the appropriate container underneath here, push this valve handle in, and you can pull out a sample so they can take a test of what you're shipping. The second feature is, if you're in cold weather where it's going to freeze, this gives you the ability of 100% draining the liquids out of this pump. So when the next driver the next morning goes to start the pump won't be frozen. Whenever the pumps are frozen, you have driveline damage, PTO damage, and you have pump system damage. In this case, it will never happen because the pump's 100% dry. And lastly, it gives you the ability of putting on another fitting on here, a C by A. You can pour in a product that breaks down the last thing you pump. And so what that means, you can completely clean the pump system up so you have no residual. And that prevents cross-contamination, which plagues this industry. So all in all, you've got a very compact design, driver-friendly, environmental-friendly pump system. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to talk to management or talk to PT Coupling. Thank you for your time.